Well, welcome to Riding Shotgun with Tupper. It is Monday. It is November 11th. Happy Veterans Day. Thank you to all veterans for your service. Wonderful. Can't say enough about that. Wow, what a weekend, huh? For Illini sports with the football. I don't know what you call that thing. We'll try to call it something here in a minute, with the football victory over Michigan State on Saturday, and the two basketball games Friday at Grand Canyon and last night at Arizona. And it was almost a perfect weekend, not quite. They played a really good first half against Arizona, and then a not really good second half, but got a split on the trip out west, and we'll talk about that. Primarily, though, today we're going to talk a little bit of football because here's the situation. Well, they're going bowling. They've won 4 in a row. And that it wasn't that long ago that we were sharing our disappointment that we hadn't seen, at least I was, that I hadn't seen Lovey's fingerprints on this defense, and that I hoped that I would. And then all of a sudden we started to see it. We started to see a lot of the dots connecting. And with the Wisconsin win, which was amazing, and then the Purdue road win, which was just solid and reassuring, and then the really strong second half against Rutgers, and then this miracle fourth quarter, and I mean miracle fourth quarter, against up at Michigan State and East Lansing, that's put Illinois in a bowl game, and has them now trying to upgrade their bowl situation. 2 games to go. They're off this week, and then they play at Iowa on the 23rd and finish up on the November 30th at home against Northwestern. And I don't know what they're going to do, but I know that I'm long past saying, well, they can't beat this team or they can't beat that team, because I just don't know anymore, and isn't that a fun thing? I'll be honest with you, Saturday I had a busy day, just in life. And I also had 2 football games I really wanted to watch. I obviously wanted to watch the Illinois-Michigan State game, and I really wanted to watch the LSU-Alabama game. Greg McMahon, who is the special teams coordinator for LSU, is a friend, a guy I just have so much respect and affection for. He was an Illinois assistant coach for a long time, and just a great guy. We've stayed in touch, and was really hoping that they could go to Tuscaloosa and pull that off. And both games, of course, started at 2:30, which made it a little bit difficult. So I recorded both games. I started out watching primarily the Illinois-Michigan State game, but when they fell behind by 25 in the first half and were trailing, what was it, 31-10, was it? 31-10 going into the fourth quarter. I flipped over to watch primarily LSU Alabama, and not only primarily, completely, because that game was a wonderful football game, and I really enjoyed it. And so I watched that one, and when that game ended, I flipped back to the Illinois game, assuming I would see somewhat lopsided margin, as it was when I left going into the fourth quarter. And it was 5 seconds to go. Illinois was preparing to kick off, and they were ahead 37-34, and I about fell over. And it's amazing, because yesterday at church, I ran into a lot of people who also bailed on the game, and I said, well, you recorded it, didn't you? No, I didn't think to record it. Man, you got to record it. It doesn't cost you anything to record these games. And so I immediately went back to the start of the fourth quarter. What in the world happened in this fourth quarter? And that fourth quarter was, it's kind of beyond description. There were so many things that happened. And if you're someone who didn't see it and thought, wow, Illinois must have made every play in that fourth quarter, not true. I mean, Illinois had some things go wrong in that quarter. The interception in the end zone by Brandon Peters was a terrible throw. The missed extra point you thought would probably haunt them. There were Michigan State made some good plays, a tremendous deep catch, some runs. Illinois, but Illinois just kept fighting, and they scored, and they make these big plays, and their defense forces turnovers, 4 in that game, and their defense scores touchdown, another one in that game, and they came all the way back. They completed that 4th and 16 pass to Imada Bebe, and got a pass interference call in the end zone. Caleb Reams was in on that play, and Caleb Reams also made a heck of a catch over at the sideline, and it was just it was remarkable. And for them to come back and Peters to roll out and hit Daniel Barker in the back of the end zone was just a special moment. And I thought it was interesting that the players at the end of that game, remember at the end of Wisconsin game, they hoisted James McCourt up on their shoulders and carried him off, the clear hero of that game from a player standpoint. In this game, I think because of the significance of the bowl, the person they put on their shoulders was Lovie Smith. There's a lot of genuine affection for Lovie within the program, and they've stuck with him, and they're all being rewarded for it right now. And it's good to see. I mean, gee whiz, you know, those kids have been through a lot, right? And when kids go through all that, you'd just like to see them feel good about something. And they've had 4 weeks in a row where they've felt good about something, and I'm happy for them. I was happy for Lovie. You know, in the locker room, somebody was thinking ahead enough that if we win this game, I've been in their performance center in their two-lane bowling alley, and they have these bowling balls that look like large pool balls, you know, and somebody brought one, orange and white, number 13. It looks like a big oversized billiard ball, but it's not. It's a bowling ball, and they're going bowling, and Lovie hoisted it up in the locker room, and he was like a little kid, and I can't blame him either. You know, he's a prideful guy that's wanted to get to a moment where he could say, you see, what I'm teaching is paying off, and it works, and what he's teaching is paying off, and it's working, and that was just a thrill to see. Gee, and then the bear hug. If you saw the bear hug between Lovie and Josh Whitman, I mean, that hug, and I got to write about that, because that hug said a lot. You know, I mean, those guys have been joined at the hip through this. This was Josh's plan. Lovie bought into it. Lovie's been burned before by bosses who weren't patient enough to stick with the plan. What happened to him, you know, when the Bears fired him after a 10-6 season, I know was really stung him. And then the way that Tampa Bay abandoned him, for Dirk Ketter? Are you kidding me? After 2 seasons, that was ridiculous. And so he needed a boss to believe in, and he, after much interviewing and talking, and I'm sure talking to Ron Turner, and just believed that Josh could be that guy, and Josh has been that guy. He has been patient. He has stayed the course. He has not flinched or wavered. He has believed, and Lovie's being rewarded. Josh is being rewarded. Those players are being rewarded, and you know the fans are being rewarded too. It's just really cool to see what's happening right now, and I can't help but smile when I think about it. And I've watched that fourth quarter about 5 times, I think I have, and I've been asked about this, and you know, you can't always remember everything that you've seen or lived through or experienced, and I've been on the field for some great wins and all that, and I'm not even saying that's the greatest win, but that was the damnedest quarter of football I think I've ever seen in my life. So many things happened, and you go back from the very first play of the fourth quarter, which is the long touchdown pass to Bebe, right to the very last play, the touchdown pass to Daniel Barker, and I think about the journey this team's been on, and some of the things we wrote and said early, some of them right here on Riding Shotgun, about, you know, gee, I think these transfers from Michigan and USC and Alabama and Washington are going to make a difference, and they have made a difference. Brandon Peters is, you know, hey, is he perfect? No, but that kid has a knack for making big plays. Bebe's been unbelievable. Look, Saturday, we get the news that Jake Hansen didn't even make the trip, and he's one of their 2 best linebackers. Linebackers, their biggest position of strength, in my opinion, between Dele Harding and Jake Hansen and Milo Eifler. So they're going to be without one of their top 2 linebackers. And then Milo Eifler gets kicked out of the game for punching a player. That was the description. I saw the play, whatever. So now what do? Well, you plug in Kalen Tolson. I was at training camp the day Kalen Tolson committed. And I was watching him on the sideline. He's a kid from Florida. He's undersized. And I was looking at him thinking, that is not a Big Ten linebacker. I mean, maybe he's a safety. I don't know. But, he hadn't gotten any taller, but he's filled out. He's stronger. And he's apparently been paying attention because he got in and made a bunch of plays. And then they brought in Dawson DeGroot at the other linebacker spot. Well, to me, he's a safety also. Undersized guy, another Florida kid. And those two guys jumped in when they had to and made 19 tackles between the two of them. That's pretty good. And you know what? A nod to Miles Smith, Lovey's son, who's the linebackers coach. Somebody's been teaching them something, right? We'd be on them if it was the other way. So that was amazing to me. And they're still without Wale Batiku. They're still without Ricky Smalling. I don't know that Ricky's going to be back. They're obviously without Roundtree, and they've been without some people, okay? And they just plugged some guys in and they've gotten it done. And it was amazing. So they're off this week. What a lot of fun it would be. This is probably a challenging week too. Lovey's got to worry about off-field stuff. There are going to be a lot of pats on the back as guys walk around campus. Keep it in perspective. They've got a bigger prize to play for. Not only a bowl game that they're going to, but maybe a better bowl game that they could still win their way into with some more good work. So congratulations to them. What a thrill. Basketball, I thought they looked pretty good against Grand Canyon. Undersized, took advantage of Kofi Coburn's physical advantage in the post, and he was terrific in that game, as was Andres Feliz. And then I thought they played a really solid first half against Arizona, just showed their toughness. Arizona led by 1 at the half, and then Arizona just exerted what I thought was superior physical skills and took advantage of their home floor. They have one of the great freshmen in the country, a guy that, if you follow recruiting, you've known about for a long time, Nico Mannion, born in Italy. His dad was an NBA player. His mom played on the Italian national volleyball team, moved to the United States, settled in Arizona, star there, 5-star recruit, McDonald's All-American, the redheaded wonder, and he was just tremendous. And 2 other freshmen with him were really impressive too. I just didn't think Illinois had many responses after that early start. Trent Frazier got off to a great start, and then we didn't hear much from him. Pretty quiet. Io had that little burst where he got in transition, but never really exerted himself the way you would like to. They did a good job on Kofi and held him to single digits. Georgian foul issues, and they've got to turn the ball over less frequently than they have. They got to shoot free throws better than they have. They're going to have to come up with a counter punch when Kofi's getting ganged up on, and it would be, and they got to get more off the bench. It would be nice to get Tevian Jones back, who's still suspended from competition for academic reasons. But you know what? Most teams don't play 2 true road games against quality competition this early in the season, and I think there's a value in doing it, a benefit down the road from having done it. And they'll go back this week. They don't play this week. It'll be a great week of practice. They've got a lot of film they can look at and point to things. Look at, here's what we did here. Here's what we should have done. A lot of teaching. It's early. I'm pretty satisfied with the start. It would have been wonderful to get through the weekend and have Illinois in a bowl game and the Illini basketball team in the top 25, which probably would have happened. But nevertheless, you hunker down, you work, you get better, and you get ready for the stretch ahead. And just really an unbelievable time for Illini fans to be able to walk around and puff their chest out a little bit and wear their orange and feel good, and not have people come up to them and go, hey, that football team doesn't know what they're doing, and Lovey's an idiot, and whatever. Enjoy this. This has been a long time in the making, and Josh is up for, I think his contract's up for some discussion with the Board of Trustees. I think you'd have to look at what he's done and say extension, raise, to get that football performance facility built. I hope that the Board of Trustees and the Chancellor and the President all have gotten tours of that building. It's a remarkable building, and I know a lot of people were skeptical when it was built and said it won't help them win a game. And I'm not saying that building has won 4 games for them, but I'm saying it's created an environment where they can feel good, and when they bring in recruits, they can feel like they want to be a part of this. And man, they need to take advantage of this right now and really strike from a recruiting standpoint. And they'll now be able to take advantage of the fact that they'll have extra practices in the month of December in which you can bring in a lot of recruits and have bowl practice and get playing time for people like Isaiah Williams and any of these freshmen who maybe have played a little but not a lot. There's time there now to really get them some valuable reps and have them more ready for spring ball next time around. So what a thrill. I'm happy for Joey Wagner for the Herald and Review, who's taken over the Illini beat and done a great job. He talked him into sending them to East Lansing, and I've done that too. And you get up there and then they get wiped out and you feel like, oh gosh, that was there was no payoff there. But for him to get to go up there and see that was a thrill. And so great stuff. Hey, thanks for riding along. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you who've been asking for some more riding shotgun. It's getting ready to start snowing here. I put on my barn coat and just jumped in the truck and did it. So we'll get this up and running, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.